so yeah complicated. The average cat probably can't play it right now unless you got some real serious chops.
Damn. You know, I want to rewind a little bit because you mentioned something in the past. You mentioned you listened to certain music back in the day before like the 70s, maybe late 60s, but you mentioned that you wanted to be a hippie.
Hell yeah.
For a quick second. I'm trying to picture. So when I picture a hippie, I picture the stereotypical peace man, the long hair, the dirty, you know, what a typical hippie would be. Is that what Lonzo wanted to be at one point?
Lonzo ain't never wanted to be dirty. Dirty never been one of my things. Okay, being dusty and dirty ain't never been one of my things. But in that era, man, the peace movement was so mellow. It was anti-establishment. And what I mean by that is folks wore sandals every day in the rain. You know, and it's almost the same way now to a certain degree. Everybody wears slides everywhere. And it called it free love. You know, it was free love back in the 70s, Doc. When you saw somebody wearing an army jacket, it was for warmth. It didn't mean anything far as they were supporting the military. I remember it's a scene in Forrest Gump when Jenny comes and hangs out with her Black Panther friends. A lot of them are wearing leather jackets and army jackets. Okay, and that was just kind of the anti-army movement. It was like a fuck Vietnam type situation because folks were getting drafted to go to Vietnam. Nobody wanted to go. It was illegal. It was one of the wars we couldn't win. A lot of controversy. People had their own beliefs. You wasn't canceling nothing. If you didn't want to go to the service, you went to Canada. The whole vibe, the long hair vibe, it was just fresh off the hippie vibe. I mean, off the Beatles vibe with the long hair. Beatles had everybody wearing long hair in the 60s when they came out in the 60s. Because before then, everybody was Richie Cunningham, short haircuts, Pat Boone type shit. Beatles come out with the long hair, and then like everything else, folks took it to another level. Brothers started going out to naturals. Everybody wearing love beads and the peace medallions, and even I remember even my mom bought me a pair of pants. They was white, but they came with some permanent markers. You could draw on these pants. There's no shit. You could draw on the pants and peace signs and love, peace, all that bullshit. And it went right into the Soul Train era. So Don Cornelius was a product of that particular era because he always said love, peace, and soul, and you saw all that in Soul Train. Don Cornelius was this huge natural wearing brother for a long time, and eventually he cut it down. But in the beginning, that shit was big. The tie was big, the collar was big, everything was big. The platform shoes, all that coincided with the hippie era because the hippie era became the disco era. Okay. Because the disco era was about love and having a good time and partying. And at one point in time, somebody said, fuck disco, or disco sucks. And that was the end of disco. And that's going to show you how a marketing campaign can change the direction if they wanted to. But if you really want to, but again, they destroyed disco. Meanwhile, here we are in the new millennium, and you can say whatever you want to, and nobody thinks about canceling you because they make money off of the folks that promote the cancellation. I mean, the derogatory shit.
Crazy, man. I want to kind of stick around that era, Lonzo, around the Vietnam era. Vietnam ended in 1975. And did you ever have a fear of getting drafted? Yeah. What did you ever get close to?
Hell yeah, I thought.
Okay, talk to us and tell everybody about the draft thing. Like, nope, we don't. Yeah, talk to us about drafting back then.
Nigga, if you was 18, you got out of high school, your ass get drafted. You got to go give them two, maybe 4. You got to give them at least 2 years, I believe it was. During the wartime, when you turned 18, they gave you your voter card, and you had to do a selective service card. And if they called your ass up, your ass got to go. Now, a lot of brothers got smart, and they started enlisting in like the Navy or the Air Force. But the Navy, the Air Force, you got to be pretty smart to be in the Air Force. You got to have decent grades to be in the Air Force. The Navy was the next best thing. If you was a Army, would draft your ass. Marines, you would enlist for the Marines, but the Marines had a whole different super macho appeal, and they, you know, it was selective as well. But yeah, I thought I was going to get drafted. In fact, that's why I went to ROTC. That's why I got involved in ROTC at Centennial High School. When ROTC first came to Centennial in 1973, I was in fear of getting drafted. I was in high school, and I figured if I got to go to the service, I'm going to go in as an officer. So I started the ROTC, and then the next year, they dropped that shit. Oh, I was happy to mother. They dropped the draft, and I still was in ROTC up until the time I left Centennial. But it was one of the best things I ever did in my life, because it taught me leadership skills, and it taught me not to be afraid.
Damn, dude, different time, man. But do you think they'll ever bring it back?
They could. Ain't nothing to stop it. Ain't nothing to stop it. Only thing stop you from getting drafted back in the day was a felony, flat feet, asthma, or something like that. If you had good feet and could breathe and had all your fingers, your ass gonna get this M16. They're gonna go overpower your ass, okay? Yeah. They're gonna go overpower your ass.
Different time.
Yeah, Centennial was Navy. It was ROTC. Yes, sir. It was the Navy. I started off as an ensign. When I got through, I was a battalion commander. When I hit the fence, I was when I left Centennial in 1974, I left all my shit, all four of my gold bars. I left there as a battalion commander. Sure did. For whatever reason, I've always been in leadership positions. Why? I have no idea. Since I was just, no matter what I've done, and I never thought I was a leader per se, but because I speak up, I find myself in leadership positions quite a bit. I've been the presidents and co-presidents and of all type of shit. So, and in high school wasn't no different. I ran for president, didn't make it, got into that fight. That's what made me leave Centennial. But yeah, I found myself at the head of ROTC. OG Steve, I see you again.
Shout out OG Steve again, man.
Shit.
He says, my grandfather and two of my grandmother's brothers got drafted in World War II. My great uncle got drafted into the Korean War. My dad got drafted into Vietnam. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Bad luck there. I mean, I don't know. Good luck, bad
luck. All of them was rough, man. I talk to people now. A lot of my buddies, a little older than me, ended up in Vietnam, man, and it shit had a negative effect on a lot of them, dude, because they had that Agent Orange shit, and they were spraying everybody with that shit, and a lot of people got messed up. You know, a lot of people got messed up physically and emotionally, and yeah, we leave that alone for we get canceled. Shit.
Yeah.